which is why Meijer continues to open stores and is doing so great. We don't want people to just look at it like, we'll never win. We're going to fight, which means making our stores better than their stores, treating our customers better than they do. But you got to have that fierce competition. You know where it came from? I'll tell you guys a quick story and I'm going to answer your question. It came from Columbus, Ohio. Rick Keys was down there. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, too. He was down there during the Michigan-Ohio State game. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, right? Little game people enjoy. He went into a Kroger, and guess they had a Kroger right in the front of the store. As soon as you walked in, Ohio State. Cupcakes, cakes, Ohio State jerseys, Ohio State hats, Ohio State, everything. You go into a Meijer store, there's like, in Columbus, Ohio, there's like a small section of Ohio State clothes kind of in the clothing department. And the reason, and so he's like, what? It's such a big difference, right? You're going to go to Kroger to buy all that Ohio State stuff for the game because it's a big deal. I grew up in Columbus. That's a big deal to us, right? And we looked at it, and it was because of the way we ran our stores. We didn't allow store directors to just be creative in their market. Do what you needed to do to compete with Kroger, right? So a good example, competition. So now, when you walk into stores, whether it's Indiana or Wisconsin or Ohio, those store directors, man, they push that merchandise. They do what they need to do to compete. So that passion to compete means, look, do what you got to do to beat the competition. And so now Ohio State games, and I know because I go down there, I walk into our stores and it's the same way. You're just inundated with Ohio State cakes and cupcakes. And so a good example of what passion to compete means.
I've actually noticed that my Meijer is a standout. Like, dang,
oh, yeah.
Just Grand Valley gear everywhere.
Absolutely. That's a perfect example of it. Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I ask like a couple questions? Yeah. So I know we're kind of past the interview process of how we're supposed to do with an interview and stuff like that. But my main question is it more difficult, would you say, to get a job in IT with an interview, such as would they ask more difficult questions with the requirements, obviously? Do they require more than like some other basic jobs that you would say?
They do, and I don't want to give the impression of a past interview. We've probably got more interview stuff to talk about, right? Depending on how much time we have. So thanks for asking that. No, yeah, it really depends, right? If you're going for a network administrator job, they're probably going to ask you, what's the purpose of a DNS server? What role does DHCP play? I'll tell you something, knowing the OSI model, and that play was one of the coolest things I've seen, honestly. That was really creative and neat to watch. But yeah, they're probably going to ask you some tech questions. When I was interviewing security engineers, right, like really doing the tech interviews, I wanted to know they knew their stuff. So I would ask them hard questions, but I'm going to tell you something else. A lot of times they got the answers wrong, and I still hired them. So don't be intimidated by that. Everybody can find an answer real quick, right? And we all know that, and we all talk about that, and we always say Google's our best employee. So it doesn't matter what we want to know. Do not get nervous and tripped up if they ask you some question about spanning tree protocol and you're not sure. Just say, you know what? We talked about that. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. Boom. It's okay. Don't BS an answer, right? So they will ask that questions, probably. But the important thing is to just be honest, answer the ones that you can. I've never not hired somebody because they didn't answer every single question correctly. It's ridiculous, right? Nobody knows everything all the time. So, all right. So yeah, please.
So Mr. Pepper actually gave me this question. Because my hair is so long, from your personal opinion, what would be a higher chance of me getting the job if I put my hair a certain way?
Well. The long hair question. And I say that because I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy that works for me right now. His name is James Crumwoody. He is the guy that supports, he worked for me at Bass Pro Shops in Missouri. I moved him up here to work in security. He has a big handlebar mustache, or a big, he does the wax and he curls it up. It's the weirdest thing you've ever seen. People like it, right? My advice to James was, James, shave the mustache. I get it. It differentiates you. But say he didn't do it, and everybody loves James. They love him everywhere he goes. It's going to depend, right? So here's the thing. I personally hire everybody, regardless of race, gender identity, the color of your hair. Matter of fact, one of my top security team members has huge gauges in his ears, and I've brought him all around the country with me because I don't care. And he's covered in tattoos. It doesn't matter to me. Matter of fact, the CIO of Meijer hired me at Finish Line, the athletic shoe retailer. I was the head of infrastructure operations and security for them for a few years. And he saw I've got a big tattoo on my arm. One day, Friday, casual Friday, it kind of slipped up. My shirt did, and he could see the edge of that tattoo sticking out. And I remember him coming in my office going, whoa. He kind of freaked out. So I thought there was like, is there a spider about to jump on me? What was it? He was like, you got a tattoo? I was terrified because I wear suits every day. So I was like, yeah. I slid my shirt sleeve up and showed him. I've had it since I was 18 years old. He was like, oh, I don't care. At Dick's Sporting Goods, my director of enterprise reporting had tattoos all the way up his neck. It didn't bother me, as long as you get the job done. I illustrate that for you because it's really going to depend. All right, when I was at Bass Pro Shops, tattoos weren't allowed. You couldn't show them. It was a really conservative culture. They tried to get me to not hire Sam, my buddy with the big gauges in his ears, because they said Philly's not really a good fit. And I said, yeah, I know that, but trust me. Sam became beloved by all the executives at Bass Pro Shops once they got to know him. You don't know what the culture of the company is you're applying for. Your hair may impact you one day. If you're sitting across from somebody that thinks things like that matter, it may, right? My advice would be pull it back, make it as professional as you can. My advice, boy, this is tough. You guys have to make your own decisions. If it were me, I do what I have to do appearance-wise to appear professional, but I hire people based on skills and talents, and I promote them based on that. So it's up to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, is that a good answer? Yes,
All right, so this is gonna be a hard question.
Oh, good. I've been waiting on them.
So this might get into some people's hearts, right?
All right.
But before I ask it, how many states have you been to, like, to work in for jobs?
Yeah, okay, good. Not a hard question yet. So I'm wondering where you're going with it. 4? No, that's not. But I was a consultant for about 10 years, and I traveled all across the United States.
Great. I remember you said that.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be.
Do it.
All right, so
Hey, this is a safe place. You can talk to me.
Okay. So have you ever witnessed I don't know how to word this right. Have you ever witnessed a place that hired people based off of their race?
I have. Yeah, of course.
And in ways, if I ever was to get into that situation at all, more is it common? Is it common, or is it okay? Good. I'm just wondering.
So let me tell you, I actually left that company because of that. So it wasn't just race, but it was also they had a culture that, and I won't mention the company. They had a culture that was not accepting of LGBTQ team members. They weren't accepting of team members of different cultures, African American, Indian, etc. So I left because of that, as did a lot of people. Those companies exist, but they're very rare. In my entire life, it was the first time I'd come across that. My entire life. That should tell you something.
Okay. All
right?
Thank you.
No, yeah. Look, that's ridiculous, right? That a company would make decisions based on that, and they're not successful either, right? So one of the things that everybody knows that works in professional environments is diversity and inclusion is the one thing that every company can do to make them that much better, because you want diversity in thought. You want diversity. You don't want just me, right? 45-year-old white guy Phil sitting there telling you, how we should be doing things. I'm missing out on all kinds of people with different experiences and backgrounds. So companies that are successful understand that you want everybody in there, regardless of any kind of differentiator, right? So yeah, those companies exist, but not for long. They don't make it that long in this world, right? Because they're missing out. Does that answer it? Yeah. That's a good question. I'm glad you're brave enough to ask that. Yeah.
What stands out in this way?
What stands out? There's a couple of things. I would say that very first introduction is just like anything, right? It's that you want to capture that person right away. Where you're doing that little brief intro bio of you, right? you go out and you look at my LinkedIn, it's, I haven't changed it in like 10 years because I think it's pretty accurate, right? It's like seasoned IT executive with passion for blah, 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 blah. That's what you want, right? People get lost going down through. I'll look at all the different job responsibilities that you had. Like I worked at Meijer and I was team member responsible for opening and closing and cash reconciliation and blah, blah. That's all fine. I'll just briefly glance at that, but then I'll jump down to your certifications and your education and just see if you meet the minimum requirements. But you're going to capture me right in the beginning. Yes, sir.
So I actually just got a job at Meijer.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
To your job. So I was wondering, like how hard would it be to like work your way up to say like the corporate office?
That's a pretty awesome question.
Just from like the bottom.
Anybody know who runs our company today? Do they know his name? There's Doug and Hank. They own it, right? They're Fred's sons. Wonderful, wonderful people. Nicest people you could ever meet. No, but Rick Keys is our current CEO. All right. Rick Keys started Meijer as a pharmacy technician in Columbus, Ohio. He worked there the same time I worked there bagging groceries. So yeah, our current head of the entire organization, as powerful as you could get, started as a pharmacy tech, just assisting packing pills and things in a pharmacy. Yeah, Meijer's a big believer in internal promoting. There are lots of people that work their way all the way to the top. Lots of people. I work with the guy that leads our entire infrastructure and operations team, which is a huge responsibility. He's wildly successful, started as a janitor. So, yeah, yes, the answer is yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. Yes, sir.
When you're interviewing someone and you look at their resume, how important is it to you to see certifications? Like,
Very. And the only reason that I say that is because, again, in that situation, Riley, got it. Your name is, sir?
Eric.
Eric. So in that situation that I'm interviewing Riley and Eric both, and Riley's done a really nice job, but he doesn't have any Cisco certs. I'm talking to Eric, and look at Eric's resume, and Eric's got Cisco certs. You do the same thing Riley did. Anything, Phil, I didn't talk about, Mr. Keebler, if you're interviewing, right? That I didn't talk about, that I can answer for you. I do the same thing. You say, yeah, I've got the OSI model. Now all of a sudden, your certification is what differentiates you from Riley. And people will argue with me and say, this is old IT people. They'll say, well, I don't need certifications because I've done this for 25 years. That's true, you don't. You don't have to get them. But what they do is they differentiate you from the other candidate. And that's what you're trying to do when I tell you, be prepared, have a cover letter, ask questions in the interview with, is there anything I didn't answer that makes you think I'm not the right person? Do that. You're trying to differentiate yourself. You're up against a lot of other people. And the great news is most people won't do this stuff. So somebody I want to, yes, sir, I'll talk to you.
Which, in your opinion, on a resume makes you stand out more? Education, like college degrees and stuff like that, or certifications?
It's a good question. They're almost equal, but I'd say certifications. I will tell you that the purpose of an education, if you guys know, I went to ITT and I got my bachelor's degree in electronics engineering, right? So didn't go to school for this at all. ITT is not a Ivy League school. It's not even open anymore, right? It's closed down. I just wanted a quick education. The thing that it did for me was jobs require a certain level of education sometimes. So a lot of jobs you'll apply for says bachelor's degree required. Sometimes it'll say bachelor's degree preferred. But for the ones that are required, good, you got a bachelor's degree and you move on, right? That's usually when you get into management. But a lot of times what companies will do is they'll say bachelor's degree preferred or 10 years experience, right, in a related field. So education, yeah, it's good, but it usually checks a box. What a degree shows, just like you guys are doing at KCTC, what it does is just show that you can start something and finish it. You come into this IT program at KCTC, if you could say, I went through that program, I learned all these things, got these certifications, it shows that you can start something, stay committed to it, and finish it. Yes. Well, let's go with you.
Okay.
I'll get
So,
you, man.
I know you've been in like the business for a while, but are you still accumulating like certifications for like stay up pay?
Did you prep them
You
with?
should be talking louder, so I feel like I'm
Oh.
not doing a good job.
Well,
right now.
You know,
What was your question?
in his defense, he sit right across from me. But good point, Jim. What was your question?
So my question is, you know you've been in the business for a while, are you still accumulating like certifications to stay up?
You guys know what I'm doing right now?
I don't.
I'm a student at Davenport University full time, getting my MBA with a finance concentration. So I'm going to school full time and trying to do this job full time, which is really tough. So yes, you never stop learning. I'm a constant learner, but I also want to continue to excel kind of in my field and in the organization. So my decision to still continue to learn and get certifications and degrees is because I love learning. Every time I learn something new, I just kind of feel like, connects the dots on something. So, and I want to be, the CIO or CEO of Meijer one day, which means that's probably not going to happen, but I'm hopeful. But I've got to keep working. I got to go after those advanced degrees. So that's what I'm doing. Yes, sir.
You've given us examples of questions to ask during interviews that are like, will kind of help you along to see if you have more likely chance of getting that job. What are some inappropriate questions that should not be asked during an interview?
Oh man, what a great question. Inappropriate questions. Really good question. I don't know that I've ever had anybody ask me an inappropriate question.
Is it per se like?
Yeah, give me. What do you think?
Well, I just didn't know because we haven't really talked about this, but is it kind of a bad idea to ask how much the job pays during the interview?
Yes.
Okay.
So, thank you for that. Right? Yeah, it is. Right. What you're trying to do is prove that you're the right guy or the right girl for the job. That's what you're trying to do. After you do that, the job offer will come. Right? Yeah, asking right away makes me think, so that's a really good point. It makes me think that you're only there because you want to make a certain amount of money. I don't want to know that. I want to know that you're there because you saw this ad, you said, hey, I fit that. I'd be the right guy or girl. And you're coming in and convincing me of that. I'll offer you money later. And then you can say, it's not good. It's not good enough. Or you could say, wow, it's amazing, which you probably will if you're talking about IT jobs. They're the highest paying jobs in the world. So. Yeah, don't ask during the interview. Thanks. If there's other, I haven't heard from you, so yes, sir.
All right. So for me being my first time, like I've never done like an actual job interview. So like to calm the nerves, what would you say?
Yeah, really good question. I got to speak tomorrow. I speak a lot at different places. I'm nervous every single time. So it's okay. Embrace the nervousness. Know you're going to be nervous. And actually, if you're really nervous, right out of the gate, I learned this many years ago, address the thing that you're most concerned about and get it out of the way. Just tell them, I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm really excited about this opportunity and I'm just really nervous. Say that. That's the best way to do it. I promise you. As I said here, if you say that, they're going to laugh and say, it's okay. Nothing to be nervous about, but I understand. And then that does wonders for you. And when I'm speaking like to large audiences, and I will say that. I'll be like, boy, that awkward moment where you forget what you're going to say. Bear with me, guys, because this isn't working. I'm going to need a minute. People kind of laugh. They just deal with it. Worst thing you try to do is like suppress it and act like you're not nervous and start shaking and forget what you. Just say it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so nervous. I guess I'm really excited about this job.
Well, I think that to add to that, one thing that I've always done on job interviews too is like make sure you know where the place is, where you're going. Do a dry run the night before or the day before, right? So you get lost and there'll be train tracks you're not thinking about. So do as much as you can. I usually go like an hour or two early and find like a restaurant or a coffee shop and just sit there and get ready. So I'm not like hurrying up to it, right?
Don't ever be late. It's a good point.
Maybe 10 or 15 minutes early. Don't get there like 2 hours early because that'll think you're weird.
Yep.
You don't want to get there exactly on time, right? Maybe 10 or 15 minutes early is plenty enough. Just so you know the process. When you get there, have something to do as you're waiting. Because you're probably going to get even more nervous when you're waiting. So go over your notes, just prepare, read the job description. just like the more you can prepare, and the more you know what to expect, the nerves will go down. The more unpredictable or the more unsure you are, that's when the breathing down of the nerve really happens. So know where the direction is, go early, hang out, find a spot.
Mr. Pepper.
Keeler.
Yes, sir.
We have about half of our kids that we know are really into IT, and they're looking for those type of higher end jobs of like the networking, security type things. There's a lot of kids in here that are just trying to figure out if they like IT, and we've been telling them, you don't have to be the network senior engineer to be in the IT team. You have all these other skills and other positions, and I don't know if they get that from us because we're kind of comparing ourselves against who's the best at networking.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of jobs out there if you have IT knowledge. Am I correct?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Pepper. I appreciate that. Here's the deal. I like to use examples because it makes it more real. So you guys know I'm not just sitting up here telling you what I think you need to hear. I'll never do that. I'm known as probably the most transparent and honest person at Meijer. I like to just cut right to the chase because it saves everybody a lot of time. Here's the reality. You are not going to go into IT and become a senior network engineer 1 year out of school, right? Out of KCTC. It's not going to happen. You're going to come in, if you're into networking, network administrator job, right? You got that? Great. Even a help desk job, all right? So anybody in this room that thinks you don't want a job in IT, if you see something like first level support, phone support open up, apply for that job. If you like talking to people, maybe you're not into networking, but I really like talking to people, and I understand the fundamentals of IT, apply for that job. Because here's what happens. I started off that way. I started off the very, very bottom, and it didn't take very long before I started rising to the top because I did all the things people didn't want to do. I brushed my teeth and cut my hair, and I made sure my clothes that were from Goodwill, I've talked to you guys before, were pressed with an iron because my mom taught me that. I showed up on time every day. I did the things that other people didn't think were that important, and I started getting recognized for it. Here's my example that I want to give you. James, the gentleman right now with the weird old Western mustache, that is in charge of all the technology for all the Meijer family and all the execs. That's a huge deal. That's the biggest deal because he's got access to some pretty incredible people. We don't let anybody have access to them, right? James was the Bass Pro Shops Employee of the Year in 2016. I hired James in Bass Pro Shops in 2014 as level 1 help desk, the very lowest paid position in the company. And he differentiated himself immediately. And by the way, so did Sam, the guy with the huge gauges. If you guys could see the progression that they've made in the last 4 years of their lives because of the way they work, because of their attitude, because of their professionalism, they are a couple of the, they don't fit into the mold. They don't fit in the mold. You talk about the companies that they just want a certain type of person in there. Sam and James don't fit in that. And they're two of the most successful people I've ever known when they weren't working for me because I left Bass Pro Shops. And after I left, he got Employee of the Year. Everybody that worked with him noticed him for how he worked. Point is, start at the very bottom and work your way up. Everybody wants that big salary right away. It doesn't come right away. And it doesn't come by just knowing network technology. I'm really good at what I do. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm great at security. I've done it for a long time. But the reason I'm great at what I do is because I can talk to people. They would put me over any team in Meijer, even if I didn't have the experience. As a matter of fact, they do. Joe, you call me the executive vice president of all kinds of things. That's because I do all kinds of things in Meijer. I have all kinds of teams that work for me, from project managers to finance teams, all over the place. And I don't have background in that, but it's because of the type of person I am. So it's not about IT. It is, if that's what you want. But if you don't want that, it's okay. Just use what knowledge you do have. Start at the bottom in an organization and differentiate yourself. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. So I see people do it every single day. Yeah.
We went off this topic a little bit ago, but I was thinking about it. You said that you're enrolled in college again. Does Meijer help you pay for that?
A little bit. Yeah, they have a tuition reimbursement program. They also have scholarship programs for team members. I don't do the scholarship program. But yeah, they do a little bit. Yep, sure do. So yeah, if you apply for a job at Meijer, our benefits package is better, I think, than anybody's probably in the country, what we do for our team members. Yes, sir.
So I'm saying that Owen asked that question about how long it takes to move up in the chain.
Yeah.
So obviously it took a bunch of time, a bunch of years and stuff like that. How do you? Okay, so I'm a very impatient person. I like things to come to me quick, and I like things to just happen at a rapid pace. How do I deal with like moving up in that process? How do I like cope with not doing?
Yeah, that's really an insightful question, because I work with a lot of people like that, right? And the reality is, your impatience will serve you well as long as you channel it the right way. The best thing that you can do once you have a job and you want to move up, and you say, my goal is to be a network architect one day, or a senior network architect, then what your responsibility is to tell me that and say, how can we work together for you to get me there? You have to be really clear about what you want out of the job once you're there. So I have a lot of people that work for me that are really happy doing what they're doing. Matter of fact, my job can be incredibly difficult, really stressful. So a lot of people don't want it. People that work for me that are ready for it in case I want to leave, they don't want it because they see what I deal with on a daily basis. They like what they do. Not everybody wants to be a manager or a director or a vice president, right? So you got to tell me what it is that you want. And my job, a big part of my job, is to make sure that you achieve your career goals. And when I talk about people that have worked at different companies with me and kind of traveled with me and brought their families, why they've done that is they trust me. They've communicated to me where they want to be and what they want to do, and I'm working with them to get them there. There's a lot of people that won't though. They don't want more out of life, which is why I said earlier, you guys can achieve everything you want. It sounds cliche, but it's not. I mean, you believe it or not, whatever it is that you want, you can achieve it as long as you just put the work in and spend the time doing it. So I need to know what you want, and then I'll put a career path together for you to get you there. And that helps with your impatience, because you can see, oh, here's the plan, right? This year we're going to do the following training. Next year we're going to do da-da-da, right? Phil needs to see this out of me. I need to be a better, so you want to be a manager? Sorry, Mr. Pepper. You want to be a better manager? One of the things we're going to have to work on, we have competencies. It's things that you have to understand. Public speaking. I need you to be able to get in front of people and present, right? So next year we're going to spend a lot of time doing that. I'm going to give you more opportunities to do that. I'm going to give you feedback. But once you tell me and articulate what it is you want, I can put a plan together to get you there and help develop the skills that will make you successful. Yeah, and that also helps with the. Yes, sir, Mr. Pepper.
So he's telling you about like you have a plan and that you're going to have these checkpoints along the way, kind of like a quarterly conversation that we have coming up. You guys, some of you did not take it as serious as you should have, because that is your chance to get feedback on where you're going and what you need to do. I have a very superficial resume question because I have trouble with this.
Thank you.
We start, or with these kids, we start telling them how to build the resume and we take them through it very granularly. I'm more old school, black and white bullet points, get the information on there, but they're going to go see templates of cool looking templates with color and stuff. Do you have any insight on like, does that even matter?
That stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People, one of the trends that you'll see right now is people creating websites, right? Bookkeeper.com, and I just list that, and you can go and it's all interactive and see my experience. I don't have time for all that. I won't say it doesn't work in some areas. Maybe in a marketing company, they want to see you create a drone video that shows your marketing skills. Yeah, but we're talking about IT and even just like business jobs. People don't have time for that. Like I said before, we're really busy. So I prefer the old school. Everybody I know prefers the old school. I work with a lot of people in creative and marketing. Like I said, they probably have a different thing, but everybody that I know, they just prefer get right to it. Give me the information to see if I want to talk to you or not. Don't pastel colors and don't worry about it. Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want to go more into like the programming side of IT.
Yep.
So I was wondering, like during your job, is there like any time for like seeing programming
become like useful, it become like really important?
It's the biggest part of Meijer IT, actually. We have our security team, we have our support team, and then we have what we call our digital transformation team. We employ about 300 developers. That's by far the largest portion of IT and one of the largest teams at the company. So yeah, programming is important because all that we're doing moving forward is we're developing technology, mobile apps, shop and scan, so you can just scan with your phone and walk out of the store with the item, things like that. New digital commerce offerings, new websites, new loyalty programs. We develop all those. So development's huge. Yeah.
One thing I want the kids to know too is I've been to your shop. I've seen the whole floor of all programmers.
Yeah.
And a number of them that are on those, I think it's called an H-1B visa.
Yeah.
Right? There's not even enough people in our country that are capable of doing
Glad you
that.
pointed that out, Joe.
So like if you guys can get those skills, which you'll get, right? Just have the path for you. I mean, there's like jobs just sort of waiting for you once you have those skills.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, the H-1B process, it's probably not familiar with you guys if you don't have to deal with it, but what that is the United States has said that when we have a job, if we can't find, and they have requirements, you have to post that job, you have to interview people, if you can't find a qualified candidate, then we're allowed to sponsor someone from overseas to come over that is qualified. And so you see a lot of countries really, really investing in IT and specifically development because they're like, look, over in the United States, there are thousands and thousands of programming jobs that they can't fill. So that's a really good point. So yeah, if you're into programming, that's a good.
If you have someone that you like that's doing a great job, if there's a qualified citizen, you have to hire them, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep. It's just all based on qualifications, and we don't have enough. Same thing in security. There's just not enough. There's 0% unemployment in security. So yeah, 0%. There are way more jobs than there are people that can do it. Believe it or not, people aren't that interested in it. And I'm telling you, it's the coolest job in the world. Yes, sir.
So us as high school students, we're not really like the conventional people that would like apply at a job, like an IT job.
Yep.
How do we go upon doing that so that they don't just like shut us out for being young?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that because one, that's actually a big misconception. So remember what I just said about help desk, level 1 support, entry-level network administrator, things like that. They don't require bachelor's degrees. So what you should apply for those jobs and you should highlight your skills, right? That you spent. Oh, and plus, if you guys are doing that, you can also list Philip Keebler, Chief Information Security Officer, as somebody that, that they can talk to, because if you guys apply and you've got me listed on an IT job that you're qualified for as just a reference, or even if you put it as a footnote, well, that hiring manager is going to come to me and say, do you know this individual? And I'll say, well, no, but if they're KCTC, probably, because I serve on one of the advisory boards there. Meijer's a big partner. I can tell you that the program they go through is very intensive and they learn a lot. We definitely need to give them an opportunity. That's what I can do and what I will do. I don't guarantee you the job because I don't know if you're applying for a job you're qualified for, but it gives you a leg up over the person that doesn't have the opportunity to list me as, like I said, you list me as a reference. I'm going to say, well, I don't really know him, but I can tell you about KCTC, and I think they should have an opportunity, right? Yeah. So, but put it down there as somebody, we've had an opportunity to work with Philip Keebler, during our time with KCTC and blah, blah, blah. That's enough for them to say, hey, Phil, do you know this person? And then we can get into a conversation about what you guys do know, and that'll give you a leg up. Yes, sir.
All right. So, let's say you're coming out of high school and you're applying for a job. On your resume, what if you're so then in leadership council, or what if you're in student council? Would you?
100%. My LinkedIn, and here's the other thing you guys can do. I've told you before, once you're getting ready to get out there into the job market, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can absolutely do that. LinkedIn is a very important part of your brand. You should have a LinkedIn site, and you should make it as professional as possible. You want to know how to do that? Look at mine. But one of the things you can do, you'll see in my LinkedIn profile, I serve on a lot of advisory boards, and they're all listed there. So yeah, I would put it on there. All that stuff matters because that shows leadership, it shows initiative. And the other thing you can do, if there's not a convenient way for you to say, you know, even in your cover letter, right? I'm a KCTC student. I've heard a lot about Meijer because we listen to Philip Fiedler, who comes out and works with us and his teams. You know, you can put something like that, or you can just reach out to me and say, hey, there's this job that Meijer's got posted. I'm applying. I thought I'd let you know. And what I can do is talk to the hiring manager and say, let me tell you about KCTC and why we should give these guys an opportunity.
What people usually do is they call us, and then you usually call
Joe
me
can do
and
it
say,
too.
Christian apply, and then I give Christian a great note because I know him. You know I know
So
him.
yes, it's another way to do it, right? But leverage, you guys hear me talk about, I'm glad you said it, connections, LinkedIn, your brand. Your network is how almost everybody gets hired once you get out of those entry-level jobs. I haven't applied for a job in, oh my God, 15 years. They reach out to me, and it's because of my connection. I think my LinkedIn network, it's not that big, but it's like 1,500 people. They reach out to me, and they say, hey, we got this opportunity. That happens to everybody. Recruiters call you. So you want to build those connections. You want to start to build your network. I don't know if you guys have LinkedIn profiles, but I'm saying something that maybe I shouldn't say, but connect with your instructors here. Connect with them, connect with me. When you meet somebody at a conference, or if you're walking around or you talk to somebody, connect on LinkedIn, because as that network builds, you're connected to millions and millions of people, and all it takes is that one person to go, oh yeah, I know Mr. Pepper. Sure, he's a great guy. Yeah.
Remember when you guys are going to brush up your nice suits for our next interviews? We will arrange with Kim over there in photography, and we'll get you a nice headshot.
Oh, that's amazing. Do that. Yes. Yeah.
All right, so I got a controversial one here, maybe. Now, just like etiquette, okay, I got some people taking notes. I have some people engaged. I used to have a CEO that we did away with all technology during meetings and stuff like this. And looking around, I see some people with a computer taking notes, some people on a computer not taking notes, some people on their cell phones. What do you think about that, Mr. Keeler?
Oh gosh, yeah, you are there, Mr. Pepper, getting real controversial. So I have a rule. I don't know if you knew this, but I have a rule during my staff meetings that no computers and no phones, because I don't know if you're taking notes, or I don't know if you're surfing the web or chatting with your friend. I don't know if you're doing a support call or you're surfing Instagram. So I just say don't, because now with you guys right now, they're taking notes. It's fine because I know what's going on. But in general, it just shows a lack of respect for the individual, right? We talked about that before. You should be listening. You should be focused. You should be asking questions if you have any, or don't ask questions if you think the topic's really boring. But definitely don't disrespect people by, you didn't have to click that.
Oh, no, I gotta tell you.
Good. Don't disrespect people by, being distracted. Certainly, if you ever check your phone during an interview, you're out. Don't ever do that. It should be silenced. We had an individual. I don't know if it's that guy back there hiding, smiling. I don't know if it was you. Somebody had a phone ring. Was it you?
It was an alarm.
Yeah, and that alarm ring, right? Bad, right? My phones right now are silenced. Hopefully nothing big's going on, but I don't want it to ring while I'm in here talking to you guys. So you just do that, right? In those moments, silence the phone. Don't even look at it.
So we got to wrap up real quick. Just remember our learning target. We brought Mr. Keeble in here. He gave us time because we want you guys to understand the hiring process.
Oh, that's good.
That's really the learning target. Hopefully you guys learned a couple things about that. Does anybody have I know kids are getting ready to go. Does anybody have one last burning question they wanted to ask? One last question?
Last question.
Right now, please.
My question was about self-advocacy. I'm a big proponent of self-advocacy, but I know Meijers like a family environment, a team environment.
Yeah.
How do you have any advice on balancing the difference? Because there's a line you can cross and it becomes arrogance. Both.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know that I have a good answer for you, Reddy. I would just say no, I don't have a good answer, bud. I'd say it's as long as your intentions are good, that usually comes through. It's pretty easy to read when somebody is being prideful. So always act with a sense of humility, and it's what we learned from Hank and Doug and all the team at Meijer. really, really, really successful people, you'd never know it. So just always act that way, you know, and it'll come through. Yep.
Hey, give my quick snaps there. Get the graphics in, excited.